I'd like to tell you about the experience of dining on Amtrak, that's 3 meals a day, during a 9-day and 7-night adventure on Amtrak, crossing the country from east to west and west back to east. Epic adventures, exotic locations, peppered with occasional tips on healthy aging. I'm Dr. Marty Crane Godrow, and these are my stories. Little tip about dining on Amtrak. It's both easier and more challenging than you might think. Having the information on this video can help make the difference between frustration and a really joyous experience for you and your family. Of late, I have run into people who characterize gluten sensitivity, or people who choose not to eat foods with gluten in it, as being a trendy sort of thing. It's not. Gluten sensitivity it's a form of disability, and it should not be ignored. These are not people who are just trying to be fashionable. We've been traveling all night. We got on the train yesterday in Albany, at the Albany Rensselaer train station, and that was at about 7 o'clock last night. We had dinner, even though the information on the Amtrak site said that they only served dinner between 5 and 7. We got on the train and they said, of course we're going to serve you dinner. And one of the gentlemen who works here on the train came around and said, your dinner reservation is for 8:30. So we had a little snack here in our roomette, and then headed down to the dining room. A little bit of a sense of what was on this particular leg of the trip. The gentlemen who were working there, and it was all men, who were working in the dining car, said that this menu is different than what we're going to see when we leave Chicago and go west, because they said that on that train, on the California Zephyr, that there will actually be a cook or a chef on board, whereas the meals on this particular leg are prepackaged, probably a lot like airline food is. I'm gluten sensitive, and I've been off gluten for about 25 years now. So I'm very careful about what I eat, and I couldn't find anything on their menu that said explicitly that what they were serving was gluten-free. I had a little discussion with our server, and he said he did the best he could to give me as much information, but we had to sort of wing it. I had a dish last night that was called, it was what they call butter chicken, and it was roasted chicken with butter, marsala sauce, basmati rice, onions, bell peppers, chickpeas, and cashews. It was absolutely delicious. I have to tell you, I was amazed, and I just sort of was praying that there wouldn't be any gluten in it. And I would say from my own experience with gluten, when I eat gluten, usually within 30 minutes, I don't do it on purpose, but if it happens accidentally, my body tells me within about a half hour. So this was really good. I don't know if this is safe for other people, but in my experience, I was able to eat the butter chicken dish, and it did not adversely affect my well-being last night. We had a very nice dinner. This morning we went down to the breakfast to have breakfast. And Jamie, what did you have this morning?
I had the bourbon apple crepes. Then later I had the 3-cheese omelet, which was good. But
yeah, and that's what I had. I had the omelet. I passed on eating the sausage because sausages may or may not have gluten in them, and there's again no indication as to whether or not these were gluten-free. There were potatoes. I tasted those. I'm not big on potatoes, so I tasted them. They were fine. We had orange juice, all the coffee we could drink, refills. And Jamie got hungry. He had one breakfast around 6:30 this morning, and then another one about 2 hours later. So, and they were very gracious about letting him have a second breakfast today. So, I don't know if that's standard operating procedure for Amtrak.
I assume so.
They were very gracious. And we found the staff that were taking care of us on this particular leg to be gracious people generally.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we discovered was that Amtrak stations around the country, for the most part, do not have foods available that a person can get off the train and purchase and bring back onto the train that would meet the needs of a person with gluten sensitivity. In fact, there are an absence of restaurants and takeout and so on in most of the stations that we visited that would provide nutritious meals or substitutes for the food that are on the trains. And I have to give a shout out to Amtrak for doing probably about as good a job as they're able to do at this point in time in terms of identifying things on their menus that have various allergens. There is a site on the Amtrak site where you can actually get contents of the various meals and the allergens that are involved. For me, I had taken a very long trip on Amtrak. I wanted to see America, and it was an amazing trip. But in first class, there is access to the first class dining room on the trains. Trains that are west of Chicago, essentially the California Zephyr and the Empire Builder that goes across the northern tier of the country, both have chefs on board. And they are able to somewhat modify what to be served to you in the dining room. For example, the flat iron steak, which is a beautiful piece of meat that's served on both of those trains, can be served without its sauce. There are some salads that would sometimes come with croutons. These can be not put on the salad by the chef. The servers that we came in contact with were amazing. They did the very best they could. Hey, I'm Dr. Marty, and I'd like to ask you to become a subscriber. The arrow is pointing down to where you can click the subscribe button if you'd like this, and perhaps you'll share it with a friend.